On Christmas Eve, 1971, a 17-year-old girl fell 2 miles from the sky, strapped to her seat, unconscious, into the heart of the Amazon rainforest. 92 people were on that plane. She was the only one who walked out alive. Juliane Koepcke wasn't an ordinary teenager. Her parents were German scientists who had moved to Peru to study the Amazon. Her father was a zoologist. Her mother studied tropical birds. And Juliane grew up not in a city, but in the jungle. By the time she was 14, she knew how to read rivers, identify dangerous animals, and find her way through dense rainforest. She once described herself as a jungle child. On December 23, 1971, she graduated from high school in Lima. One day later, she and her mother boarded Lanza Flight 508 to go home for Christmas. Her father had warned them, "Don't fly Lanza." The airline had a terrible reputation, but every other flight was fully booked, so they got on the plane. The flight was supposed to take 1 hour. About 60 minutes after takeoff, the plane flew directly into a massive thunderstorm. Baggage flew out of overhead compartments. Passengers screamed. The plane shook violently. Then Juliane saw it, a bright flash of light on the left engine. Her mother turned to her and said calmly, "That is the end. It's all over." Those were the last words Juliane ever heard from her. The lightning struck, the wing caught fire, and the plane began to break apart 10,000 feet above the Amazon. Juliane was still strapped to her seat when she was sucked out of the aircraft. She was spinning through pitch-black night sky, falling 2 miles toward the jungle below. She remembered seeing the tree canopy spinning toward her. Then nothing. She lost consciousness before impact. 10 hours later, she woke up, alone on the jungle floor. Broken collarbone, deep cut on her arm, torn knee ligament, one eye damaged, but alive. Her first thought was her mother. She spent hours searching the wreckage, calling out, looking through the debris. She found bodies still strapped to their seats, slammed headfirst into the ground. At one point, she found 3 bodies together. She knocked a shoe off one of them with a stick and saw nail polish on the toes. She knew it wasn't her mother. Her mother never wore nail polish. She never found her. What she did find was a small bag of candy, the only food she would have for the next 11 days. Then she remembered something her father had told her years before. If you're ever lost in the jungle, follow the water downstream. It always leads to people. So she found a small stream and started walking. The Amazon is not just hot and humid. It is alive in ways that feel hostile. Insects swarmed her open wounds every night. She could barely sleep. Her injured knee made every step painful. On day 4, she heard vultures overhead. She followed the sound and found more bodies from the crash, still in their seats. The jungle had swallowed them. She kept walking. By day 9, the wound on her arm had become infected. She looked inside and found 35 maggots living in the cut. She remembered watching her father once treat a dog's wound with gasoline. So she poured gasoline into the wound
35.
And counted as the maggots crawled out. 35 of them. Then she kept walking. On day 11, January 3rd, 1972, she found a small hut near the river. A boat, a can of gasoline. She waited. Hours later, 3 local lumberjacks arrived. They found a 17-year-old girl, filthy, injured, barely conscious. They treated her wounds, put her in a canoe, and traveled 11 hours downriver to the nearest town. She was then airlifted to a hospital. Juliane Koepcke had survived, But here is the part that haunts the story. When rescue teams went back to search the crash site, they found that 14 other passengers had also survived the initial fall. They were alive when they hit the jungle, but they had stayed where they landed. They waited for help that never came in time. Juliane survived because she moved. They didn't. And there's one more twist. A filmmaker named Werner Herzog had been scheduled to be on that exact flight, scouting locations for his next film. A last-minute change of plans saved his life. Years later, he made a documentary about Juliane's story because he understood better than anyone how close he came to being one of the 91. Juliane Koepcke went on to become a scientist, just like her parents. She returned to the Amazon and became the director of the very research station her mother and father had built. She has said that the question that haunts her most is not how she survived, but why. The thought, "Why was I the only one?" haunts me. It always will. Her mother's body was found in the jungle 12 days after the crash. She had survived the fall too, but she died waiting to be rescued, just a few miles from where Juliane had been walking.